Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of Impeccable Wisdom. Yesterday, I had the privilege of watching inauguration of MAHA Kumbh Mela in Prayagraj. At the same time, entire day was spent in watching the videos which are talking about MAHA Kumbh Mela, and the kind of information given by that made me feel the time has come for me to make my own video and share with the world on the inauguration of 14th January 2025, the day of inauguration, the first bath in Prayagraj. It is very auspicious day because it comes once in 144 years as Maha Kumbh Mela. I am sure I was present in the last, and I am present in India at this global moment to talk about Maha Kumbh Mela. And I do feel there is no need for me to go to Prayagraj for inauguration or visit, or for that matter, any place in the world. I can go through the astral travel as I have learned from my mother, and of course the divinity by and large, and I can see all the places in the entire universe and know the core mathematics of everything. And that is something which I've been talking about. So in this is Maha Kumbh Mela, and Kumbh is the Kalsh, the vessel you can see in this particular picture, is supposed to carry the water of immortality, the nectar, Amrit, to be immortal for Janmas. But how many people understand the meaning of immortality? Is it no death of the physical body, or the presence of the universal knowledge, or what are the different aspects? Is something which I don't see being declared, explained, explored, enumerated by any of the people in any of the videos which I noticed. So then I felt it's time for me to explain what I think as a kumbh, a vessel, a kalsh, a vessel which contains Ganga water or pure water to be immortal or whatever it is. My own understanding of my life, this particular life, and of its association with earlier lives, reincarnation, is something which I'm going to explain. And also I made a note there, churning of Sagar Manthan, the primordial ocean, which also talks about Amrit, the Kalsh, the Kumbh, and also Ganga, descent of Ganga to make people a Bhagirathi, immortal once again, come back from unconsciousness to conscious state, and also the Kumbh used in Tantra Vidya as a symbolic representation of Antaratma itself. There are quite a few things which are there, which I think will make the thinking a little more rational, logical, mathematical, scientific, and know something which is absolutely essential to realize that we are at the venture in all over the world for starting a new life on Makra Sankranti, the Purnima of this day, and then let everybody become a perfect human beings for the entire universe to lay the foundation for impeccable wisdom, which is taught to every student, every teacher, every researcher, every publisher throughout the world without any deficiency whatsoever. With that objective, this particular video made, and I'm sure it's going to be pretty long, but it's worth millions and millions and millions if you're truly interested in spiritual science, step by step, one by one, to take it to the level that we can be in tune with the universal consciousness and know all the perfect secrets of the entire universe, including the perfect physical human body, to be perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy, in tune with everybody, perfect relationship with all the religion, and go on to be the Lokpalan, the custodian of the world for which the human beings are created. Let's start. Now, I'm starting with my, since this whole objective is to physicalize into existential knowledge. It's not a copy of any of the books or things which have been written by anybody else. This is whole video is based, or all my videos are based on my own experience and with the physicalized people by and large. And of course, I do take complete divinity in the form of Atma stands by me, helping me to understand things very clearly. So, first thing, let me dedicate this thing to my mother, Srimati Uma, which is again a representation of Om. This particular picture was taken by me in 1974 in my own thing, and I'm glad this picture was there. I could take a scan and represent. There are some patches, doesn't matter. Picture is very clear of my mother. Now, my mother and her moksha, since Kalsh or Kumbh is to for immortality, moksha, and that's what everybody knows. People are going to Ganga Jal in Prayagraj, Yamuna, Gangotri, Jamuna, Ganga, and Saraswati, Triveni, to get the birth, freedom from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. That is the objective of everybody, including my mother. And with that objective that she didn't want to be born again, she wanted to get liberation. And then she was doing Moksha Yajna every 6 months in our house in Katra. She was in every stage of 6 months, she would drop something which was binding her with the bondage with the physicalized body of the world by and large. That was something which I learnt as a child, that she was doing moksha every 6 months. She will drop one thing and go on to become better and better. And that's one part. Then, surprisingly, she must have been one of the very few married women who used to go to temple every day and pour water on shivling. I've seen that all my life. As a matter of fact, everybody used to say, why are you offering water to shivling when you are a married person? This work is to be done by people who are not married. A Suhagan should not do. But she never bothered about it. She said, no, I like it, and that's it. What reason she had, I never asked. I was too young. It doesn't matter. She had the faith, she continued to do that. Her preparation was only for moksha, and she connected moksha with Lord Shiva, this particular statue, and believing that Lord Shiva is warm by herself, and this should make the Lord Shiva calm and quiet by and large. What did she mean? I have no idea. I have never asked. So let's leave it at that particular stage. Then they come to consider her moksha was also to go to different pilgrimages, which would give her the knowledge of that experience which was recommended in Sanatan Dharma from the very beginning. Going to Gangotri, Jamnotri, Amarnath, Kedarnath, Badrinath, Prayagraj, Rishikesh, Haridwar, and of course other temples of India was her regular yearly wish, and she has gone. And the first temple you are seeing is at Amarnath. You can see two word pigeons which are immortal over there. It's a science of immortality. That's what Amar is all about. That is what whole concept of Mahakumbh Kalash is. Our Kavach is, our Mela is, the festival is to give you liberation from the bondages of bonded physical body with all the problems of health, wealth, wisdom, and other things. That is one thing, Amarnath. Second picture you see is Haridwar. I remember every year she used to go there. I still remember 1969, after joining medical college in 1968, she had gone to Haridwar for same Kumbh Mela. And I had to go to Haridwar to meet her. Had my bath in Haridwar in her presence in way back in 1969 itself. And that shows how fond she was of the same Kumbh Mela ever since my childhood. She must have gone to earlier. And of course, my journey to Amarnath is also during my childhood. Now, this shows She had to visit these places, get blessings of Ganga and get blessings of the places. And for that matter, Kedarnath is also a representation of Kailash in Bharat. People who can go to Kailash, which is in Tibet, people who cannot go, if they go to Kedarnath, is For that matter, I remember when I was in school in 1965, 66 itself, she had gone with my father, my sister, brother-in-law, and other relatives to Kedarnath, Badrinath, and Four Dham. I still have those pictures in my mind. Maybe that was reason I was very fond of making Kedarnath temple as a child picture. Maybe I always associated with Kailash. That's it. And we are associating everything with Lord Shiva. Gangotri is with Shiva, Amarnath with Shiva, Kedarnath with Shiva. For that matter, Prayagraj, Rishikesh, Haridwar, I personally associate with Lord Shiva only. That's it. Then her desire was that she should die before my father dies, and she should have a cremation in a place that she gets immediate immortality. She was born and brought up in Udhampur, which is the district of Jammu and Kashmir, and Katra belongs to that. And when she was sick, she was taken to the hospital there. She died there, and she was cremated on Devika River in Udhampur, and her ashes were put into that alone. Didn't have to be taken to Haridwar or some other place for immersion, because that particular land has got all the qualities which are there in Ganga water. For that matter, there are many places in different parts which have the same quality it can do. I will not go into details of that. But I remember there is another place in Jammu and Kashmir called Purmandal, which has a Uttaravani. People take the dead bodies there, burn there, and leave the ashes there. During my stay in Shri Mata Vaishno Devi University, I, along with my friend, were permitted by the Vice Chancellor to take water from there and do research to find what exactly is there. This was way back in 2007. But unfortunately, to analyze the water later, funding was not done by the university. The whole project was dropped out. I really feel sorry. I wish I had the money to analyze the water and bring together what exactly is there in Ganga water, what is there in Parmandal, what is there in Udhampur, what is in those places which are known for immortality. It's very unfortunately that I was never encouraged. Maybe God did not want it, or there was no need for it from my side. Leave it at that. Now, that was one thing which was very clear, that she should die before my father dies. And she died before my father dies, number one. She also was very clear, before she dies from this world, she should have no liability whatsoever at all. She was the living example of Lord Surya, who learns to give and give, not take and take. But incidentally, we human beings get certain responsibilities for which we have to be responsible. But I remember my eldest sister, Shakuntala, had saved certain money with my mother to take care and as such. But she died before dying, and she at that stage was looking at my sister alone at the time of death. When I had gone for cremation and later stages, I was told by my another sister this is what happened. And I asked her why. Because she owed 3,000 rupees to be given to her because she had given it. But nobody has even shown interest in paying it to her or free my mother from the liability she has because she has not given it. And she was very particular that her children should give it. And I told my sister very clearly, don't worry about it. I'll clear all her debts. I'll pay for everything which she owes so that her soul is completely free from any of the liabilities on the earth. She gets the freedom she has worked for. And I prayed all the things and everything went out very well. Now I can tell you my mother is liberated. She's shielding and guiding me 24/7, and whatever I am today is only because of her blessings, her guidance, and everything. Whatever I represent today, you are going to see later, is her blessing as the first. That's why my first picture is of my mother. It's dedicated to her because I owe everything to my mother. For that matter, many people ask me, what is responsible for human being being evolved to happen? And I make one thing very clear. First choice is the Atma of the person who is born with indwelling soul, Kundalini, Atma, Jivatma, or maybe Aditi is responsible, the first thing, all the Khan Shrira. Second person who is responsible is the mother. That's why all the women on the earth, A to Z, I respect them completely. Whatever may be the thing, I go out of the way to help them out to lead a perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy life because they are, to me, they are my divine mothers. I see everybody with the same light. I do everything with each and everybody who looks up to me for any spiritual health or otherwise. Within my means, I do my best. That is one thing which makes me very different. So, this is my contribution towards a dedication to my mother as my role model. And I see the entire life of hers. Whatever I am today as a spiritual scientist in the world, talking of moksha, I owe it to my mother primarily. Her life is a reflection of how to be detached, how to do wonderfully well without any attachment as a tyagi, vairagi, and sannyasi. If I have seen some married person, perfect tyagi, perfect vairagi, perfect sannyasi was my mother, not the other people who take so much pride in spirituality. So that way, she is the greatest thing. I start with her. Now, I can tell you she can be a divinity incarnate. If she wants to take birth, she can take birth. And maybe something which I'll give a hint to someone who's looking at divinity incarnates. She has no liability to pay for anything on this earth. Is very clear. She's free. She's not bonded with anything which is perishable on the earth. She doesn't have to take birth because she owes into it. That is also one of the reasons why I do not take anything. I do everything much more to the person who have to help and leave it so that I don't have to come back if I don't want to come back. But I would come back to birth again and again because it's the only physical body, human body, which is capable of being in tune with the universal consciousness. This is only Lokpalan, custodian of the world, which has the capability to know A to Z of the entire universe within the physical body, not in any other source. That's also something which I realized. I want to be born again and again. She did not want to be born. Whether she wants to be born or not is her choice. She can remain a goddess and guide ever, like what I have seen, or she can take birth if she desires, is her wish, and she is full free will. And I'm sure, by and large, there are many things which have happened in my life, shows me that maybe after 1997, she has taken birth because certain things did happen in 97 to protect me, my house and building with her presence, and even before in 93, how to have astral travel, what exactly it is. All that guidance on spiritual plane of higher planes was seen in dreams with her presence guiding me step by step. Today, my spirituality I owe to her work because she has given me the astral travel. She has given me how to be wise, how to be humble, how to be good, how to help everybody, how to be free from any bondage of any nature, how to lead a life of a goddess on the earth without any attachment, but still be a wonderful human being for each and everybody. That she is. So from 97, what I experienced could be that she has taken birth. Now comes my third person in the row. First is my Antaratma, second is my mother, third is my father. Because father was another person who played a very important role in molding me to be a person, spiritually relevant person today. This is a picture taken when he was in his youth or earlier thing. before his death. Now, I'm going to talk certain things about his divine devotion. He was a great follower of Mata Vaishno Devi, Lord Shiva primarily. And my horoscope, by chance, I should have been called Pushan or Bhushan. So I was named Pushan and Bhushan in the house known. But my father, being very fond of Lord Shiva, named me Shiv in the school register, which name continued. So first name became Shiv. It was given by my father because of his devotion for Lord Shiva and also Moksha again. Because when come to the Moksha, it is Lord Shiva, not Brahma and Vishnu. Brahma is the first stage of creation. Vishnu is the 10 stages of development. I understand. But moksha for complete maturity to the go to universal consciousness is Lord Shiva, which gives you Tantra Vidya, to give you the knowledge which makes you one with the universal consciousness. It's taken me more than 50, 60 years to maybe 40 years to realize that I could be a part of universal consciousness once again in this life, which happened with my initiation into simplified Kundalini Yoga on 1st January 1991. But this is divine devotion of my father, which I am putting it across. Then he's had a divine profession also. He was the owner of a shop called Hira Sweet Stall. It was called Hira Sweet Stall in Katra and other places. And the chief center was in Katra Vaishnavi, right in the center of the place where all the pilgrims to Mata Vaishno Devi come and sit and do all the bhajans. I had the pleasure of listening to some of the greatest scriptures, different stories, different bhajans right in front of my shop, and we were center of the consciousness. That is something that a very important thing in transforming me to be one with the universal consciousness or spiritual science by and large. Then when I joined school, one of my teachers asked me, why do your father's shop is called Hira Sweet Shop? Does not make sense. And we worked, and the name which appeared, it should be Hira Sweets, not Sweet Stall, and named it, and then it was changed to that. Then my father had restaurants in Katra and also in Adkwari and Mata Vaishno Devi. So they were serving the people of pilgrimage going to Mata Vaishno Devi ever since my childhood. I remember this Trikuta mountain, and this choice is there because they represent Divya by and large. But there is something very important which I learned in professional life from my father. Then let me tell you, after 1953, I'm making it very clear. I was born in 51. 1953, certain things happened. After that, he started having summer restaurants in Srinagar, Marthan, and Pahalgam by and large. Not before 53. There were turmoils in Jammu and Kashmir, politically otherwise. But after 53, things happened. Then he started summer restaurants in Srinagar, Marthan, and Pahalgam in Jammu, Kashmir Valley of Jammu and Kashmir. And this is the place which helped me to go to Amarnath Yatra as a child after 54. That's one part. Also, this Marthan temple is there in this, and there's a pond which I realize I have great memories at the place. I have great memories of Srinagar as a child, where the complete Kashmir Shaivism was imbibed by me during my summer days as a child in Kashmir, and Mata Vaishno Devi during winter from Jammu. And I also gone on record to say, right for the 7 years I did not go to school, I learned A to Z of the entire universal consciousness, observing the entire world with my eyes, ears, five senses, in connection with my Antaratma's earlier lives itself. No learning from anybody. I just observed and had a fantastic views about the universal consciousness. By the time my brain was completely this, I had come to a stage, and then initiation into Gayatri Mantra, and thereafter. Academic excellence was exemplary from school, college, university till today. I have never seen back. I have just moved up. All the records you can think of academic education, I am glad I have all those exemplary records, start from Katra School to Jammu School to Madras Medical College, Loyola College, and Madras University, and my profession thereafter. I give it to my parents for having given me, you got to be excellent in everything. For that matter, Akhand Bharat is originates also from the same thought from my parents. Now, there's another professional guide which I learnt from my father. He wanted every customer to keep their account by themselves. He never asked anybody account what it is. Whatever the customer said, they paid, he would accept it. That is something which I learned from father. Trust your customers and they are there to serve. You are giving them food for their health. They have to go to Vaishno Devi, serve them. Your contribution to divinity is that. And same thing, every pilgrimage from every religion was welcome to our shop, to our home, to Mata Vaishno Devi temple. And I'm glad Mata Vaishno Devi temple, which is second largest in India in economics and otherwise, does not ask for the religion, name, fame of any individual at all. Everybody is allowed to come and do. I've seen that Muslims going it, Sikhs going it, Christians going it, Buddhists going it, Jains going it, Hindus going it. There is absolutely no restriction of any nature in the name of name, religion, caste, other thing. I've seen that as a child. I happen to see that even today. And I'm glad that everybody should take to religion and be respected everybody. That is something I do. I have great respect, regard, and love for every religion. I do not believe any religion, but I see only the good things which have helped me to become a spiritual scientist. I see that in every religion. I do not say, find even religion which does not give, that I'm not going to something which men have done it. I'm talking about genuine part of spirituality. And at the same time, I also know what my father saw my father doing it. For 30 years of my medical practice, I did not take consultation fees from even one of my patients. I took whatever they gave, take it, otherwise forget about it. That concept was laid by my father by and large. And I've also subsequently, after 30 years of practice, pharmaceutical industry, I got into teaching line in Sri Mata Vaishno Devi University and then Chettinad University. There again, I never negotiated for salary. I allowed them to give whatever they feel, but I'm glad because my contributions were outstanding that I was paid almost 4 times within the span of 6, 7 years, given the kind of thing which had hardly happened with anybody else, without negotiating, without showing. And that is something which I learned from my father as a professional guide. Do your work to the best of ability, don't worry about fruits. And that same essence is there in Gita. Karmane vadikare maaf rechu kadachan. Do your work to the best of ability, don't worry about fruits. Fruits will come to you provided you are good karma yogi and you are knowledgeable and you are contributing to things. The professional excellence will give you abundance of money. And I can tell you, I never had any difficulty in financial side ever since my childhood till today. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever is good has come to me automatically without even seeking money or any other perishable by and large. But I have all the pleasure of everything. I can call myself one of the richest person because I don't owe anything. I get everything. Everything I'm able to use for excellence to reach this level is something which I learned from my father by and large as a living example. Learn to give and give and forgive. Don't go for get and forget. Don't become a beggar. Your work should be just to serve and leave it at that. Now, I'm now bringing a third chapter, the Moksha of Shiv Bhushan Sharma by and large. Now, concepts which stand out in my life, and now third I'm talking. At first I talked about my mother, then my father. Now I'm going to talk about myself. That I do believe Ayurveda says Dharma, Arth, Kam, Moksha is my first asset for Moksha, because starts with Dharma, truthfulness, business with truthfulness, and desired fulfillment required with truth. You'll get moksha automatically just based on truth alone. Satyameva jayate. If you are a truly follower of Satya, non-violence, and perfection to the core, you are liberated from all the constraints and restraints of day-to-day life. And that is something, is the first thing which comes to my mind. This is Purusharth from Ayurveda itself. I still believe all my actions should be truthful, non-violent, good for everybody. And nobody should pay any price. And that's my first thing, first concept of moksha. Second thing, as a result, I have freedom from every constraint. I'm physically healthy, wealthy, wise, happy. There's no constraint at all. I have moved on higher and higher at every stage. I learned things through my work, through my studies, and through actions. And that's why Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Siddh Yoga, and Akhand Yoga are the five stages I've learnt, because they've only made me rise higher and higher without any constraint or restraint of any nature. That is something which I do believe has made me what I am today. Then another thing which I learnt, everybody is working on one art or the science to impeccable wisdom. I do believe Lord Krishna is known for 16 arts. But I know from my experience there are 64 arts and sciences, and I want an impeccable wisdom of all the 64 arts. Maybe that is the reason I am able to produce 8 hertz frequency, alpha, coherent and predominant throughout the brains, with eyes open, senses open, which no one in the world has done. Because all the 64 different parts of my brain are fully active, integrated, because of my thoughts and actions of all the 64, whether it's mathematics, whether it is art, whether it's physics, whether it's chemistry, whether it's medical sciences, all the sciences, A to Z, I've learned step by step. If you are master of 64 arts, only then you get freedom. Otherwise, you are in need of something. I have been able to take the old scriptures, old books, and reveal those things which have not been done by anybody else. All my videos, my books are filled with that kind of unfolding of all the mysteries which world talks about it. And there is no mystery in divine consciousness. Only our failure to explain, we call it mystical experiences or mysteries. But once you are into the universal consciousness, all mysteries become like a child's play. That is something which I've said, because I know all the 64 art with which the universe is designed and created by nature itself. Then, as a result, I experience perfect physical health, wealth, wisdom, bliss eternally. Satchit Anand ka Anubhav, I can do it. I think this is a result of continuous work. Then, as a result, I am in tune with universal consciousness. All the rules of the nature are known to me because I flow with nature the way it is. As a result, I've been able to recognize, conceive, and reveal divine design of nature, which is Divyang. And of course, as a result, I am expected to rectify all the defects of man-made mathematics, man-made physics, man-made chemistry, man-made medical sciences. Now I am finding fault all the knowledge which all the students throughout the world are considering. There is no consistency. The consistency can be brought only with Divyang. And that is the result of spiritual science of 64 arts I have known. Maybe that is the thing. I can produce 8 hertz throughout my brain. I give the first Divyang for the first time. Everything for the first time is what is the record of moksha, and that is what is expected of MAHA Kumbh Mela once in 144 years, that should come to the stage. You should be in a position. But only thing is, I'm I don't feel there is a need for anybody to go there in my presence at least. I'm there. Leave it at that. On this auspicious occasion, I'm saying this is one reward of Maha Kumbh Mela, to me, a festival of universal consciousness. Now, going back to my own life, the unfolding of things. Something which happened, my birth in Katra, and of course, child. But when coming to the spiritual aspect, there are certain things I don't have record. This is the first record in 1974. When I made this Om as a picture, that was the thing I realized. This is Om, this is Uma, my mother's reflection. And this is, for the first time I realized that Mandukya Upanishad has got only 12 verses. And no wonder, Mahakumbh Mela, it is once in 12 years, and then Mahakumbh is once in 44 years. That means 12 into 12 is 144. 2025 is the stage when we have present Mahakumbh. The last Kumbh was 144 years ago. And next Kumbh is going to be 144 years. This 144 years, which is 12 into 12, is what going to show how we have spiritually evolved, recognized. And I can see what I've done in last life and what I've done in this life between 144 years is a product by and large. And that's why I say why Kumbhs are once in a year and 6 years, and once in 12 years, are 12 into 12, 144 years. That is Om, that is the essence of Mantra Shastra by and large. Mandukya Upanishad has got only 12 mantras and 24 lines, which Gayatri also talks about it. Now the question of, after initiating simplified Kundalini Yoga in 1990, 1st January 92, I took a decision that I'm not going to do anything which comes in the way of me being a perfect human being. So I took all the decision, anything which can stop my sensory system, I will not take part. And keeping together, became a pakka vegetarian, pakka, no alcohol, no drugs, no medicines, no tranquilizers, nothing at all. I want my sensory system to be perfect so that my comprehension of universal consciousness is perfect. As a result, this particular picture was drawn by me in 1992 at home to show my nephews how good drawings can be done with the hands alone. But picture in this particular picture also I'm showing there is a kumbh or kalsh or the water pan right at the right side, very close to the right hand. You can see that shows it was kumbh. This is the water which has carried water. This is the Ganga Jal I'm talking about. And this particular picture has shown me that in this picture there is a face which is female. And this was done in 92 itself. And this showed that Shakti is 61.803% and Shakta is this. And there is a Sindhu, there is a Ganga, there is a Jal which play important role in Amrit. So I made it very clear. For me, Amrit is pure, Shuddh water and which keep us alive. All the solution can be problematic, but finally correction comes with only water, and that is what Kumbh is there in churning of ocean itself, Sagar Manthan. Nobody has talked about what exactly it contains, but everybody has desired only for that. My understanding is Amrit is water. Same thing in Amarnath, same thing in Kailash, and same thing in Ganga Jal in Prayagraj. Now, this is a picture which I have drawn of Akhand Bharat and called it Sindhu Rashtra. This is again Kailash mountain, Mansarovar river coming, then how Sindhu goes towards north, then towards the west and gets into Arabian Sea, and of course Brahmantra on the right side, and Sindhu Sagar, this whole land which is surrounded by Himalayas on the east, Sindhu on the north and west, and Sindhu Mahasagar down is what is Akhand Bharat. And this Akhand Bharat is giving the world impeccable wisdom because it has that evolution by and large in Sanskrit language and all the Indian languages. Now, in this particular picture, I've shown center Akhand. I've shown the Sindhu is there in Tibet. That Sindhu going up on one side and Sapt Sindhu and Sindhu Mahasagar. But I have shown that on the head side. Same picture which I have drawn of 92, that water is falling from the head on the western side, not on the eastern side. That shows in talking about Sindhu coming out of the head. But when it comes to the question of Ganga, comes from the throat or Vishuddhi chakra of Lord Shiva. So that's why the Gangotri and Ganga come from the throat or Vishuddhi chakra, and that is the important part. This is what I'm trying to explain about it. This is my experience. If I want Shuddh water, it should come from my throat itself. Purification is done in the throat by the thyroid gland and also given the heat to purify and give me the kind of health which I needed. So this was spiritual realization which is there in that picture of 92. And of course, I'm talking about today to take it to much higher level one by one. Now, now I'm bringing another thing, science of Akhand Kosh, and this I've shown. Ganga Jal is coming down, falling on the head of Shiva. Then you can see Shivling. You can see the from head the Sindhu river towards the west. But throat is giving Ganga Jal. You can see the snakes in throat and Nilkant from where further evolution comes back. That is something which I learned in this life. Through my experience, this is what Akash Ganga is. Now, descent of Akash Ganga, I'm going to talk about it. Now, when King Sagar's army and relatives were killed, I'm not going to that. They recommended that Akash Ganga can revive them. He and his three descendants could not succeed. Finally, Bhagirath managed to get God and goddesses and say, come back to earth and revive them. Then Ganga comes and then whole thing is revived. This is short story, you can read it as such. But I'll take you to the next stage. This is a picture from Mahabalipuram of Bhagirath meditating for Akash Ganga. And this is a picture of another artist which shows how Ganga is coming down. Shiva is standing, waiting for her. And then you can see Bhagirath on one side and Nandi and Parvati other side. In this picture shows the descent by and large by another artist. Now comes to the stage that I am taking you to the much higher level of the physical world, seeing through the head, and that is what future adventure of life is, what unfolding as I move on from this concept of Ganga coming down, Atma coming down, descent of Shakti, and how it can help us to evolve to higher levels of consciousness. And this also shows if we die at any stage, we should leave the Kundalini or Antaratma from the head. And that is what Aitreya Upanishad is talking about. That is what Chandogya Upanishad is talking about. That is what Taittiriya Upanishad is talking about. That is what Tantra is talking about. Entry of soul through the head, Brahmandra, Talu, anterior fontanelle, and evolving and then moving on is the first thing which is important in spiritual evolution. That's it. Second thing is, if you are born in the world, your Atma comes through the head and you are totally enlightened. You'll be a born Siddha from your childhood itself. And if you're born as Siddha from childhood, you can do wonders. And one of the example is Maharishi Yajnavalkya. 5,000 years ago, he believed that only Surya is his guru, not anybody else. He learnt everything from nature, and what he has laid behind the legacy of his work in Brihad Anukya Isha Upanishad, and other things are remarkable. He is a born Siddha to be enlightened, and I have a great respect for him. I follow him as a role model on spiritual evolution. Now, the question is that once you are born with that, your Atma will enter at 22 weeks when the growing fetus, and that is what I did in my mother's case. Time difference, the time I died and entered into her womb was when this fetus, Shivbhushan Sharma, was 22 weeks or 24 weeks. But then, from the time I was born, there's a difference of 117 days I have written in my autobiography in my Bal Avastha. And that is this thing which I leave behind. That is the awareness I got in this life, and all my knowledge to great an extent I acquired during my mother's womb itself. Maybe that's the reason I3 Upanishad I've been able to decode Apana as such only because of my experience as the mother, how I have seen it, so it was easy. A born Siddha can do it. And I think I3 Upanishad, which is a reflection of Rig Veda, is a beautiful example of this. I want people to see that. Then, once the Atma gets into the physical body at 22 weeks, it can transform the genetic structure which we get. Now, I do know there are haploid genes from mother and father, then they become diploid too. Then there's a different combination. There are 22 sets of autosomes, and this. Only one is a predominant, another one. The combination can take place when you're born. But I can also assure you, from my experience, that if you are totally enlightened, when you get Atma, will modify the genetic structure to bring a perfect anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry into surface. If you are born Siddha and got into fetus at 22 weeks, you can do a wonderful job of perfection, and I'm sure that choice is left with the soul to choose the right father, right mother, and right atmosphere to go on. That is something which I learned. Now, the further future is I have learnt all the 64 arts and science, and this is a particular example how to convert animate, semi-animate into inanimate graphic presentation of Vigyan Chakra is a beautiful example of 64 arts. That is something which has helped me to produce 8 hertz frequency throughout the brain with the eyes open with all the senses. It's a reflection of concentration all the 64 arts. Don't master only one art. If you want to make optimum use of human being, we can all learn 64 arts. And that's it. And now, once you learn and master the universal wisdom, you literally are with Akash Kosh. This is a picture of Akash Kosh. And there are 3 revolutions you can see. The innermost, which is the growth, is 7.83 hertz. Then second is about 14. Third is about 21. So these are 3 stages we can experience as we move on. But I would go with 7.83, which is close to 8 as a living consciousness. And as far as the other things are concerned, you can use the other mediums like higher souls like Gayatri or Adi Parashakti or higher souls to move up as a carrier without having anything to do like gamma waves in your brain. That's it. Now, as a result, I would definitely like to lay a foundation for totally integrated scriptures from Ved, Upanishad to other things as a totally one in the light of Devyank with the divine mathematics, with physics, chemistry, biology, psychology, all to perfection, and lay behind the knowledge in the video forms and books for the entire world that every child has a perfect knowledge, not have man-made concepts which are continue to dislodge the wisdom by and large. I need to change it, and that is my future adventure of life. And integrated scriptures are the knowledge of math, physics, chemistry, biology, and other sciences for the world, which are uniform for everybody. So there is uniform peace, world and large. Now I'm coming to the very question of science of Kumbh Mela, what exactly it is. So now let me discuss about Kumbh Mela as it is happening in Prayagraj. There is something called Magh Kumbh Mela, which is annual festival. And I remember way back in 1969, during my winter holidays, my parents had gone to Haridwar for Saint Magh Kumbh Mela. So did not find them at home. So I went all the way to Haridwar to meet them, stayed with them, had Ganga Jal. It was very enlightening experience. The first and the only time I went, I think thanks to my parents, that they took me also to Haridwar for Magh Kumbh Mela, because Haridwar is one, Prayagraj is another, and there are other places. Let me not talk much about it. Now, Prayagraj is a Triveni, Ganga, Jamuna, and Saraswati. All the three rivers go. I'll not get into details of that. But let me tell you the prime objective of Kumbh Mela is Moksha, Mukti, or liberation is the first step for which they're going there only to get liberated, get Moksha, Mukti from freedom, whatever different people think. As I encouraged my mother, she wanted freedom for not rebirth. But I'm not, she has taken birth. But as far as I'm concerned, for me, moksha is freedom from all the constraints and restraint so that I can move on spiritual journey as a scientist to learn everything with universal consciousness. That can happen. For me, moksha is what I have explained. Other people have a different moksha. Let's not get into details of it. Each one has a choice, whatever they want to do. But an immersion in Ganga water is what is required to give you freedom. The water purifies you inside and outside. And that is also one of the reasons among the Sanatanis, at the time of death, pure Ganga Jal is put into the mouth of the dying person so that he is liberated. It's a beautiful thought. I think that makes that we have a Kumbh Mela right at home. That vessel which carry it is a vessel it should be found in every human being, at least in India, by Hindus, that they should give this as a Kumbh Mela water to everyone at the time of death. That's it. And they want to do during lifetime and go again and again. And every time you go there, it should purify you completely of all the negative thoughts whatsoever. It's not only bath alone, but in the bath, all the negative tendencies, worldly thing, bondage with money, praise, charitable things, other things, goes up, should go up. Only then you become a person to be in tune with universal consciousness. Otherwise, not possible. At the same time, among the Sanatanis is a practice. You die, you are cremated, ashes are collected, and are put into Ganga water otherwise. But in my case of my mother, it was done in Udampur itself. She didn't have to be taken to Ganga Jal at all. That is something which I do understand. I put it together from my experience from my parents by and large. Don't come to question of second Mahakumbh Mela is once in 44, as I told you, 12 into 12 is that. Annual Kumbh Mela is every year. This is Mahakumbh once in 44, 12 into 12. And then you have four processes which are very important in this particular year. Today is 14 January 2025. It's a Makar Sankranti. That's the first holy bath which is considered very auspicious, and that is it. Then 29th January is going to be Amavasya. Today is Purnima. They could be Mauni Avasya. And that would be the second one you take. For that much, Tantra says very clearly. Start from Amavasya and go on increasing your spiritual journey. By the time you go to Purnima, it's full. Here you start from Purnima, come down, then again go up. The third thing, which is the 3rd February 2025, Basant Panchami. But that is the time when all the Nagas come out. Snakes start coming out only Vasant Panchami. That is a great celebration by Allah. And that's why the first importance in Kumbh Mela is given to Naga sadhus only. And they are the first thing because they are represent that consciousness which is of Lord Shiva. And all Shivas, Ida, Pingla, Shishmala, Nadi, by and large, center around snakes only. My last picture is representing the same thing so beautifully. That snakes play is very important. Ida and Pingla, by and large, are snakes only. So, Vasanta Panchami, when snakes start coming, that is the time you got to welcome them. Bring the Ida Pingla Sushmana Nadi and start evolving to higher levels of consciousness. That's the meaning of Vasant Panchami is the third thing. Then 12th February to 25 will be Magh Purnima. This is Makar Sankranti starts, and then 1 month later is Purnima. Purnima to Purnima is that, and this is 1 month. By and large, is very, very important. 4 festivals for taking bath in 4 different types, purifying at every stage, purifying during Amavasya, purifying during stages, and if you can do for rest of your life at home, with you will become a spiritual scientist by and large. Now, this is the place. Purna Kumbh is the one thing, once it happens in once in 12 years, that is celebrated in Prayagraj. Then you have Earth Kumbh Mela, once in 6 years, is celebrated in Prayagraj and Haridwar simultaneously. Then this is the spiritual science of Kumbh is a vessel that contains Amrit water. You can see the water, you can see this. That is what I'm making very clear. For me, Amrit means water, and water content on the earth, human body and human cell be 61.8034%. And that is what I learned by making the picture in 92 of Shakta and Shakti, or Shiv and Shakti, that it is the water which is a dynamic female part. It should be 61.8034. Maybe as a result, I have given world the mathematical design for the first time, Divyank, showing that water is 61.803%, and that is the water we should maintain, and that is going to make us immortal. Difference between seed and life is only water. Seed cannot move. Put a water with the oxygen, it will start growing. Same thing, those Bhagirath's people, they were put into suspended in Patal Lok, but giving water to them of Akash Ganga, they are revived. That shows the importance of water by and large. And I'm going to talk about it as we move on. Now there comes a question of the second part. I have talked about Akash Ganga by and large. Now I'm going to talk about primordial ocean, the Sagar Manthan. This is a picture which is there in our Puranas when Devas and Asuras wanted Amrits to be immortal. So they decided to get together, work together to produce Amrits from the ocean water. That Meru mountain is there, and they put Vasuki snake and start churning it out. And in the process, the first thing which comes out is, you can call it hala hala. Now, I'm showing the picture of Mount Kailash. We'll get into that a little later. And then the first thing, which I'm making it clear, early aging processes start with tortoise. Tortoise is, you can see right at the bottom on which the mountain is there. So how things start working and how. Now in the process, when we talk of Kailash, or you talk of Hala Hala, it is iodine 53, which I call it, which is the atom, which becomes xenon at 54, which is the Nirankar Nirgun Brahman. So iodine itself, from ionic this form, 53 to 54, is as good as Nirankar Nirgun Brahman. It can give you all the facilities of universal consciousness by and large. That is the meaning in this particular thing. Now, I'm going back to again Akash Kosh. There are two lakes there which have people. One is a low Rakshas lake which contains saline solution. But the high mountain is a pure water on Mansarovar, from which Sindhu, Sutra and Ganga originate from. But this is also the Suras and Suras which have worked together to get Amrit. But the Amrit is a pure water, that's what it means. And same picture you are seeing, this is satellite picture, show how these two lakes are there. And the same thing in the picture you can see is the gods and goddesses as and large. Now I'm going to explain Lord Shiva, Nilkant, why it's a Nilkant, why water, from which hala hala comes, what is the cryptic science about it, so that you can understand the ancient scriptures had a lot of wisdom in it. I gave glimpses before, but now let's explain it today. Now, all the things which you're talking about is a periodic table. You have 7 periods and 18 groups, but the last group is Antaratma as such. But before that, you have halogens. But halogens at atom is one less than the inert matter or Atma. But when they become ionic stage, they become like stable, noble gases like Antaratma, give you the experience of universal consciousness by and large. That is what you're going to see here. Sodium, which has got 11, becomes 10 in ionic form, and chloride, which is 17, becomes 18. So they become two mobile, 10 and 18. One is like goddess Gayatri, second is Adi Prashakti. That's it. And that is a combination which convert salt, it can give you a higher wisdom of goddess Gayatri as well as Adi Prashakti, provided you are balanced in sodium chloride and water content. No, for all the patients who have dehydration, they are given glucose plus normal saline plus water as such. That is proves that is Amrit. So I think now you can understand water, sodium and chloride, and of course the potassium chloride are the combination to take us to much higher levels of universal consciousness. Now hala hala poison, as I know, it is something to do, it can kill. Now I have told you, as you go for hala hala by and large, you can see that it's iodine, because that is green, it's a blue violet color which you put heat by and large, and that's it. Then second thing, we can still use iodine or pyodine as an antibacterial for one and large, to prove that we can be the universal consciousness one and one by and large. Down comes the question of Lord Shiva blue throat. When he was started taking this, Parvati put a snake around the neck and became blue. Now, many people are not able to explain what it is. They give all sorts of stories, but I know it's a trapping of iodine in thyroid gland, which is being spoken about in this particular picture. And now I'm going to explain that part one by one. Now, in iodine, as I told you, it has got atomic weight of 53, but when it converts into ion, it becomes 54. And that is what you see from blood to inside, 54. And then how, along with thyroglobulin, is produced thyroxine, which can produce heat by and large. So actually it is iodine which is taken, which is was killing earlier, is getting into thyroid to produce thyroxine, to produce heat, thermogenic thing, and move on. As a result, it made me understand medical profession better by understanding this concept than it was known otherwise. For detail, you can see my other video on the same concept as separate. Now, most of us talk about thyroid gland as a calorigenic, BMR, and diabetogenic. But I know it is thermogenic, as you can see in the picture. You can see the heat. Mitochondria is able to produce heat, converting triglycerides and protein products into heat. Not that. That is something which I learned from this picture, not from medical profession by and large. But now let me tell you, explain that. The scientific evidence is, if you have hypothyroidism, your thyroid content is low, you have intolerance to cold. But you have hyperthyroidism, you have intolerance to heat. In hypothyroidism, you tend to put on weight, more of triglyceride, more of fats, because things are not getting burnt. But in hyperthyroidism, they're getting burnt, you become loose and have all the problems of sympathetic overactivity. This has made me realize that iodine, thyroid hormone, actually is thermogenic, not calorigenic diabetes at all. That is also knowledge came from that. And that is the kind of wisdom which I'm talking about. Now, I'm taking you to the next version, which take us to universal consciousness by and large. And I've spoken about it. I have realized that Lord Brahma has got 3 plus heads, which is actually 2 pi, 22 by 7. You can see it very clearly. But that is also 1/3 of that is 22 by 21 is what is the first stage of creation is seen at cell, in solar system otherwise. Pi and 1/3 pi of 22 is what Brahmank is all about. And you can see this example of solar system is made of 21 parts. Earth 7 parts, Antariksh 7 parts, heaven 7. And to go beyond, you take 22nd step. That is one thing. Same thing is found in the cell also. Same thing is Mandukya Upanishad also. A is made of Akara is 7 parts, Ukara is 7 parts, Makara is 7 parts, Turiya is 1. So the 22 by 21 is beautiful examples everywhere I see, from Chandogya Upanishad to Mandukya Upanishad to other Upanishads. That shown me that how spiritual knowledge actually makes you understand divine mathematics. This is something which I realized as a child as itself. Now, same thing I'm showing the living cells also. They are under the compound microscope, you have 3 parts. But under electron microscope, you see 21 parts. Cell membrane, 7 parts. Cytoplasm, 7 organelles. And nucleus, 7 parts. And that one part, which is centrosome, becomes 2 centrioles at the first time of creation, is something also I've explained. But the how spirituality helps you to understand science better. The science by the people is a copycat, defective, man-made concept, full of defects. But spirituality made me understand the truth of science and give spiritual science without any difficulty. Now we have that knowledge for the world to see, to take it to the next stage of universal consciousness. Now come to the question of engage. Brain is the one which is supported by 22 bones. Skull, 8 bones, and face, 14 bones. Out of these 22 bones, 21 are sealed or fixed, one is free, that is mandible. Again, you see 22 by 21. Right at the bottom, you can see the skull. There are sutures which are there, which start closing only after 22 years. By 24 years, they should be closed. That's what forensic science says. If the sutures are closed, the person is more than 24 years. If it is less, it could be less than that. That is also beautiful science which I am yet to understand. And same thing I see in a child, Antaratma to eat at 22 weeks, and that's it. Brain can go on developing till 21, 22 years, and only up to that we should be studying as such by and large. Now come to the next stage. Having understood Brahma 22 by 21, then 10 stages of development. Vishnu is known for Dasavatara, and I have shown these 10 things from Matsya to Kurma to Varaha to Narsimha to Vamana to Parshuram to Lord Rama. Right, 7 are very common with the people which are talking about. But unfortunately, 8th, I call it Balram, whereas most of people call it Buddha. I cannot find Buddha as a part of Vishnu consciousness because Vishnu is known to be very truthful, honest, development of very positive nature. Is not a non-violent person. There is a Balram can be non-aligned, but not non-violent. When he takes to take a decision, he takes a decision. And Vishnu has to take a decision. He has a karma yogi. He's a Gyan yogi. So Balram is better. Of course, ninth, Lord Krishna and Kalki remain the same thing. That is 10 stages, which I have seen at every stage in biochemistry to psychology to everywhere is the 10 stages that may. These 22 by 21 and 10 stage development are known in Ved, Upanishads and Indian scriptures very clearly. I had absolutely no difficulty in understanding that. But when come to the question of Shiv, the third stage of maturation or moksha, which incidentally many people were searching, they had no answer at all. The answer after understanding 22 by 21 is Brahma, 10 stages is this, and understanding in Gayatri, understanding in different scriptures, I realize there is something more than that, because 22 by 21 to the power of 10 does not give me the perfect number. That search for perfect number I found in 2015 with the help of my friend Professor Govindaraju. We sat for 2 days with SPS version 21, and by the time I had already figured it out, the perfect number of golden ratio or Divyank ratio as 1.618034. From knowing the number, it was easy for me to find the 5 digits of Shiva maturity much easily with the help of my friend Professor Govindaraju with IBM SPS version 23. And those decisions are 0.34419. They also add up to 21 again. I thought that was amazing, and that is something which took me almost 60 years of hard education, step by step, understanding Brahma first, then understanding Vishnu first, then understanding Shiva. I think maybe the Shiva consciousness has given me the moksha which Mahakumbh is talking about. And today, being that, let the world see this is what Mahakumbh is able to give you, perfection to the core. We should go for the wisdom. And of course, rest of the thing, everybody's free. I'm not talking about anything. I think having done that, I think I have found something. Now I'm sharing with the world. This is the prime objective of Mahakumbh Mela, of 1 in 144 years, 12 into 12, and understand Mantra Shastra, Yantra Shastra, Tantra Shastra, all the 64 arts, then you are in tune with universal consciousness. Now, the whole thing put together comes to Divyank in the end. That 22, 21 is Brahmank, 10 sages is Vishnu, and 0.33 Shivank. Put together is Divine Divyank Golden Ratio, recognized in 2015 by Shibhushan Sharma by and large. Now coming to the last stage, entire thing which I have spoken about, A to Z is there in this picture. I have spoken it, I'm not going to talk about it. Reflections you can see, read about it, and I think that's enough for the time being. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful experiencing something of moksha on Makar Sankranti of 2025, the day of real Maha Kumbh Mela in Prayagraj. It is my dedication to the world. This is knowledge we should spread. With this knowledge, your world will have the professional presentation from school, college, university to everybody. And that is what requires if we want world peace by and large, if we want unified education, we want enlightenment, we want empowerment, we need a divine design of Divyank, not man-made concept. And all these videos are meant only for that. From that angle, I think it's wonderful. Thank you very much.